You've probably heard the buzz about GLP-1s, but what if I told you there's a new one from Eli Lilly that's already being called the most anticipated obesity drug in development? It's retatrutide, or retatrutide, depending on how you pronounce it. Lorraine and I love retatrutide, so we'll just say it that way, and the excitement around it is electric. Analysts, doctors, and patients are all watching closely because it's the first ever to target 3 key hormones at once. And early trial results show it may be even more powerful than anything we've seen so far. If you're treating the disease of obesity, this one matters in a big way. We've had a number of you request a closer look at this drug, so let's dive in. Welcome to the Downsized. My name is Christopher Durham. My wife Lorraine and I have lost over 150 pounds using GLP-1 medications, and honestly, it changed our lives. We feel better, we move better, and we're not living in survival mode anymore. Obesity isn't about effort or discipline. It's a disease. The American Medical Association officially recognized obesity as a chronic disease in 2013, and that recognition has changed everything. Once we started treating it like one with medication, community, and science-backed support, our lives turned around. They changed forever, and that's why we started the Downsized. It's not just a YouTube channel. It's a community, a space where we talk honestly about what it's like to live with obesity, what it's like to fight obesity, and what it means to use medications like tirzepatide and semaglutide to take your life back. We do new videos every week, actually every day, on side effects, science, real stories, news, grocery shopping, travel tips, interviews with real people, all of it. If it's part of this adventure, we're going to talk about it. So if you're new here, hit the like and subscribe button. Drop a comment and say hello. We'd love to hear your story too. One quick thing before I get started. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just a guy who did the work, read all the research, and lived the experience. I'm a dad, a husband, GLP-1 user. Always talk to your doctor about what's right for you. Today I'm digging deep into retatrutide, the triple hormone drug that's breaking records and turning heads. And with the latest updates from Lilly's Q2 2025 earnings call, there's a lot to cover. So first of all, let's talk about what is it. So what is retatrutide? Retatrutide is what researchers call a triple agonist. It mimics 3 naturally occurring hormones, GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon. GLP-1 slows digestion, makes you feel full, boosts insulin, and lowers blood sugar. GIP works with GLP-1 to stimulate insulin and may help preserve insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. Glucagon, that third magic one, raises blood sugar, but in this context, it also increases energy expenditure, raising your resting metabolic rate. That's the triple action punch. Feel fuller, control insulin and blood sugar, and burn more energy even at rest. And here's where it gets exciting. In a 2023 NEJM study of more than 300 adults with obesity but no diabetes, retatrutide produced unprecedented results. At the highest 12 milligram dose, participants lost an average of 24.2% of their body weight in 48 weeks. To put numbers on that, someone starting at 240 pounds lost about 58 pounds in under a year. Lower doses worked as well. Those on 4 milligrams lost around 16% of their weight, while 8 milligram patients lost around 22% of their weight. Nearly everyone in the study benefited. 100% of patients lost at least 5% of their weight. 93% lost at least 10%, and 83% lost 15% or more. These are numbers we've never seen before in an obesity trial. Even more striking, the weight loss curve was still trending downward at week 48. In other words, participants were still losing weight with no plateau in sight. The trial also tracked health markers beyond the scale. Researchers reported significant improvements in blood pressure, triglycerides, liver enzymes, and inflammation. That's important because obesity is a whole body disease. Weight loss is one thing, but restoring metabolic health is the bigger story. Taken together, these numbers explain why retatrutide is being called Lilly's most powerful candidate yet, and why analysts and patients are watching closely as the Phase 3 Triumph program unfolds. So let's talk a little bit about the timeline for the trials and the approval path. Right now, Retatrutide isn't FDA approved. You cannot get it from your doctor. It's only legally available in clinical trials under the TRIUMPH program. And here's what's happening. So TRIUMPH 1, which is the first phase, is for obesity or overweight with or without complications. There are 2,300 participants, and that finishes May 2026. TRIUMPH 2, the next phase, is obesity plus type 2 diabetes and has 1,000 participants, and it finishes mid-2026. TRIUMPH 3 is for obesity with cardiovascular disease, and it's expected to finish early 2026 as well. TRIUMPH 4, which is obesity with knee osteoarthritis, is testing whether weight loss reduces pain and improves mobility. The dates are still uncertain on that. Additional trials for chronic low back pain, sleep apnea, liver steatosis, and kidney disease progression are being discussed. In Lilly's latest Q2 2025 earnings call, they confirmed a new phase 3 trial called TRIUMPH 7 for chronic low back pain, and plans for a MASLD liver disease trial later this year, testing both retatrutide and tirzepatide. That shows how broad the potential applications are. Retatrutide isn't just about weight loss. It's being positioned as a full-body metabolic therapy. As for potential launch dates, because that's what we want to know, right? When can we get our hands on it? If the major phase 3 trials wrap up on schedule by late 2025 through mid-2026, Lilly could file with the FDA in late 2026 with Fast Track designation already in place. Approval could come as soon as mid to late 2027. That means patients might realistically see Retatrutide available at pharmacies in 2027, about 2 years from now, if all goes well. So let's talk about then how exactly does Retatrutide work in the body. Retatrutide is a once-weekly injectable synthetic peptide with a long half-life of around 6 days, designed to mimic the 3 hormones we discussed earlier, but all at once. It works with those 3 receptors, right? So the GLP-1 receptor, which slows gastric emptying, reduces appetite, boosts insulin secretion in response to meals, and lowers blood sugar. The GIP receptor adds another layer of insulin stimulation and may help preserve pancreatic beta cells, which are critical for long-term glucose control. Finally, the glucagon receptor, traditionally thought of as a hormone that raises blood sugar, but here it plays a new role. By mildly stimulating glucagon receptors, Retatrutide appears to increase resting energy expenditure, helping the body burn more calories even at rest. Could be mind-blowing, to be quite frank. This triple mechanism means patients experience a mix of reduced hunger, improved glucose regulation, and higher energy burn, all at the same time. In clinical pharmacology studies, researchers observed that participants not only ate less, but also showed higher rates of fat oxidation, meaning their bodies were preferentially burning fat for fuel. The phase 2 trial confirmed these mechanisms translate into real-world outcomes. Alongside dramatic weight loss, patients saw improvements in key metabolic markers. A1C reductions are up to 2% in patients with elevated baseline blood sugar. Systolic blood pressure dropped by an average of 7 to 10 milligrams, and an effect similar to many first-line blood pressure drugs. Liver enzymes improved, suggesting less fat buildup and stress in the liver. Inflammatory markers such as hsCRP were reduced, pointing to lowered systemic inflammation. Taken together, this suggests that Retatrutide may deliver benefits far beyond weight loss. It has the potential to protect the heart, improve liver health, and reduce long-term risks for diabetes and kidney disease. Researchers are especially excited because the glucagon component appears to unlock additional fat-burning potential without negating the benefits of the GLP-1 and the GIP. That's why many in the field see Retatrutide as the next evolution of incretin-based therapies. So, it all sounds good, right? Who doesn't want all of that? Well, let's compare it to the existing GLP-1s. Let's put Retatrutide side to side with the current big names in obesity treatment. Start with Wegovy or semaglutide. The average weight loss of about 15% at 68 weeks in people without diabetes. Zepbound or tirzepatide has around 21% weight loss at 72 weeks, plus strong improvements in blood sugar control. So to remind you, Retatrutide, now we're talking phase 2 numbers, has 24.2% weight loss at just 48 weeks. So a higher weight loss in a shorter period of time. And the curve had not even flattened yet. Patients were still losing weight when the study ended. That means Retatrutide, the most powerful of the group so far, and remember the phase 2 study wasn't cherry picking. It included over 300 adults with obesity, and nearly everyone lost weight. 100% lost at 5%, 93% lost at 10%, and 83% lost at 15% or more. Now, effectiveness is only one piece of the puzzle. Side effects matter too. As you and I know, the constipation, the nausea, the fatigue, all matter. Across all GLP-1s, the most common issues are, of course, what I mentioned, those gastrointestinal things, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, sometimes reflux. In the Retatrutide trial, about 1 in 4 patients at the highest dose stopped treatment early because of side effects. That's higher than what we've seen with semaglutide or tirzepatide, but it also reflects that they were pushing doses quickly. Lilly is taking this learning seriously, and in the phase 3 trial, they've said they're experimenting with slower dose escalations, giving the body more time to adjust. The goal is to keep that powerful weight loss while cutting down the dropout rate. Another key difference, the biology. Semaglutide works only through GLP-1. Tirzepatide works through GLP-1 and GIP. Retatrutide adds glucagon into the mix, and that seems to be what's driving that extra fat burning and extra energy expenditure. It's like going from a bicycle to a hybrid car to a fully electric vehicle. The technology is advancing with each step. So the bottom line, Wegovy set the stage, Zepbound raised the bar, and Retatrutide may push the ceiling even higher. But tolerability, safety, and price will decide whether patients can actually use it. So there's the crux of it, right? The patient. Is this actually relevant to patients, and what does it mean for you? What does it mean for me? Well, Retatrutide represents hope, but also it has familiar barriers. It has so much potential, life-changing weight loss, with patients in trials losing more than 70 pounds on average. Quality of life impacts could be enormous. But it has side effects, manageable for many, but dose dependent. Patients will need patience during titration. We've all learned that, right? Low and slow is what a lot of us have learned over the course of both semaglutide and tirzepatide. And the real key is accessibility and pricing. In all likelihood, Retatrutide will be the most expensive obesity drug in Lilly's portfolio. Orforglipron, the new oral pill, which has not been launched yet, is expected to eventually be the entry-level option once it is approved, or potentially a good maintenance option with the lowest price point. Zepbound or tirzepatide, we know and love, that's what I've lost my weight on, currently sits in the middle. Eloralintide, Lilly's amylin analog, may land near Zepbound pricing, but could push higher if combined with tirzepatide. The pricing ladder looks clear. Orforglipron at the base, then Zepbound, with Retatrutide sitting at the very top as by far the most expensive option. It raises coverage questions, of course. Will insurers step up, or will patients be left paying out of pocket? Lilly has built Lilly Direct, and it is negotiating with PBMs, but many patients still pay full freight. Lorraine and I have paid for every dose of our Zepbound and tirzepatide. Current GLP-1 users have to ask whether or not they should switch, whether or not they will switch, and that will depend on personal response, side effects, insurance coverage, and doctor's guidance. And honestly, it'll depend on where you are in your journey. This may not be the drug unless you're 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds overweight that you want to start with. In all likelihood, there will be a progression through the medication. So maybe you start tirzepatide, maybe you start orforglipron, maybe you start Wegovy. And for many of you out there that have run the course of tirzepatide and you're no longer losing weight, this might be the next step. Retatrutide could be the tool for patients who have not yet reached their goals with current GLP-1s, but affordability may determine whether it's an option or just a pipe dream. And while many people are genuinely excited about its potential, it remains to be seen what share of the market it can capture and how big it will ultimately be. Pricing could well be the factor that limits its reach. Another expectation is that regulators and insurers may set higher BMI thresholds and require higher comorbidities for prescribing retatrutide. That could further limit its market size, even for patients who want and need access. This is where Lilly faces a real test. They can choose to lean into the image of Big Pharma, or they can step up and be the hero. Lord knows I've called for them to be the hero many times. With retatrutide joining orforglipron and tirzepatide in their portfolio, sometime in 2027, Lilly has the chance to offer a broad menu, a portfolio of treatments with different efficacies, different formats, and hopefully different and more equitable price points, so that patients at every stage of need have an option they can actually access. So, it all does sound good, doesn't it? The potential for this kind of weight loss that also burns energy. Wow. But what are the long-term implications? What are the policy issues that are going to drive all of this? Well, retatrutide forces us to rethink obesity care. Obesity as a disease, not willpower failure. Right? Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound got us step 1, step 2, step 3. Retatrutide is that next big step. It also forces us to look at healthcare costs, the potential savings through reduced diabetes, heart disease, and hospitalizations, but only if coverage expands. And the policy questions, as always, are maddening, and they won't go away. Will Medicare and private insurers pay for it? Will lawmakers push for pricing reform? Will the government actually allow Medicaid to pay for the treatment of the disease of obesity? And employers have to say, do we see the ROI in covering GLP-1s, or will they balk at the costs? Retatrutide could make the debate sharper. And of course, there's always global access. Will low-income countries get access, or will pricing widen the treatment gap? For patients, these policy questions directly impact whether retatrutide is a breakthrough or just another drug out of reach, just another pipe dream. From my perspective as a patient, I've lost over 100 pounds on tirzepatide, Zepbound, and Mounjaro. I'm at my goal weight, so I ask myself, would I even need retatrutide? Well, it remains to be seen. Today, tirzepatide is working well for me, but at some point it may not. So I love having options. I am not loyal to any one drug, any one method of taking it. Shots, pills, it doesn't really matter to me. So if you give me a great option at a great price that can help me maintain my health, I am there. What excites me is more options, more powerful tools, and hope for those still struggling. And what worries me is the side effects and the high cost. I've paid out of pocket for every dose, and I know how hard that is. If retatrutide launches even more expensive, which I have to believe it will, too many will be left behind. And of course, our question, Lorraine and my question, and many of your questions is, well, what about maintenance? For me personally, it's all about sustaining results. Retatrutide could be an option for others who haven't achieved enough with current drugs. I see retatrutide as exciting but frustrating, promising science, but with affordability and access still the biggest hurdles. Retatrutide is still in trials, but it's already shaping the conversation. We can't talk about any drugs without somebody commenting, oh, but retatrutide's coming. It's the most anticipated obesity drug in development right now, and Lilly is betting big that it could be their next blockbuster. For patients, this means both promise and questions. The science looks groundbreaking: triple agonism, powerful weight loss, improvements across multiple health markers, but the realities of cost, coverage, and prescribing rules may hold it back. We need to ask, will it truly change lives, or only for those who can afford it, or only for Lilly's bottom line? From my perspective, as a patient, I know how transformative these medications can be. That's why we share these updates. That's why we started these channels. We're not doctors, as we've said it. But as people who've lived it, our goal is to keep you informed, supported, and part of the bigger conversation. So here's where I'll turn it over to you. Would you consider switching to retatrutide or stick with what's working now? How much do you think a drug like this should cost? And are you excited about it, or more worried about whether anyone can actually afford it? Drop a comment below, and let's talk about it together. If you enjoyed this, please give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. We put out new videos every day and love having you as part of this conversation and this community. And here's our call to Lilly. Once again, be the hero. Increase access, improve affordability, grow your market share, and build loyal customers by putting patients first. You have the science. Now use it to lead with compassion. I'm Christopher Durham, and we are the Downsized.